Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here in Milwaukee at MRC with my friend. Well, you're not here, are you, Sean? With Sean Luitjens, Chief Marketing Officer at uFlexReward. We're going to be talking to Sean, avoiding the crazy goons here in the lobby at the Westin in Milwaukee. And Sean, where in the world are you right now?
I am out in Western Massachusetts. We're lucky enough to be building a house, although with COVID, my house that was going to be built in February. For those who don't know, it's not February, so I'm in the camper again. So I only do your show from the camper.
I thought you like permanent residence, digital nomad. All the cool kids are doing it. I thought that was your MO, but you actually do. You are not homeless. You have a place to live. You choose to do the show solely from the camper, though. Am I correct?
No, so the house isn't ready. Won't be ready till June. The other place I'm living right now, the other place I'm living right now, we hope. Man. Yeah, the rest of the time it's very sad, Ben. I'm living with my girlfriend at her parents' house in the basement. So I'm 52 and haven't come that far.
You are a millennial. You are. Yeah. See, I knew it. Hey, hit that like button right now. Insert millennial jokes in the comments. Let me know if you're out there right now. We're going to be talking about total rewards. I think we're going to be talking about, what uFlex is all about, kind of the concept here behind it. And now that Sean has left us in Relo world, we want to hear his perspectives from the outside looking in. Get in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you are, why the heck you're watching today. Hit that like button, please and thank you. Stacey Huff, super producer Stacey. Hi, Ben and Sean. I'm looking forward to hearing what Sean has to share. Yes, Sean is one of our smartest, more thoughtful guests. Drew Phillips, good afternoon, gentlemen. Good luck with those building material prices.
Is there a thumbs down button?
Thumbs down. Can someone please do the pink questioning face right now? Yes, yeah. Christina Blondheim over here. What's up? Come over here if you want to. Rob Zeitz, hi from Cambridge. I can't even say it. Can you say it? Can you do the accent for me?
I can't.
We're not doing accents.
I worked there and I can't do it.
We're not doing impressions? Okay. Drink a Schlitz for me in Milwaukee. I cheers to you. This is Third Space. It is a Midwest Pale Ale. And salute, Rob. Oh, it's tasty. Very cool. Well, so last time you were on, Sean, you were with a kind of data company, and now you have made the switch now to uFlexReward, and I want to know, what is it, man? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, so I came from Comp and Ben and recruitment, kind of human cap. By the way, the other day, HCM is human capital management. Sorry for throwing that at you.
Human capital management.
Yeah, although it was better.
You start throwing these acronyms at me, Sean. I panic.
Yeah, but I liked yours better. It's much more exciting with the acronyms you came up with. And so, a couple of us, uFlexReward is a total reward system, which we can get into later if you want. But it's more around human capital and the whole technology standpoint of it. And so mobility is a piece of that. It was kind of cool to, for those that wanted to get educated, you had Chris and then you had Lynn, and then I'm going to bring down the general level of education.
Bar.
Yeah, I'm going to lower the bar,
limbo.
But
yeah.
Listening to them talk about talent management, especially Lynn yesterday talking about, how do you manage all your talent and kind of we sit across every technology system that is in HR. One of those is mobility, which one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you about was, we can talk about what total rewards are and some of the other things, but, seeing how mobility people fit in this talent mobility remote work thing, there's just a huge upside for them going forward based on their skill set.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear how it all kind of fits together. I'm still trying to map it all in my brain, to be honest with you. So I actually look forward to understanding more about what human capital management actually is. Jana Chezanowski from Rio, nice. Second country on today. Shout out to you, Jana, checking in. Daniel McCoy, hey, Ben and Sean. Ben, you've been on a roll this week. Great guest. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate you, man. That's great. Such an encouragement. So is human capital management like the same as like talent management? Is it like
Yeah,
same as human
it's the
resource? Like,
same.
what
It's
does it
all the
mean?
human resources. For us, it's around total rewards, which is really just think about your entire pay, which kind of leans into what Lynn was talking about yesterday. So all of the elements of which you would consider your rewards. So obviously pay, cash money, cash is king,
Cash
all your
money.
benefits,
Sorry.
everything else that is there, short term, bonuses, etc., long-term equity, and of course, why I was commenting yesterday, just tied in well when Lynn was talking about this purpose driven, how much is that worth to you, and can you tie worth to that, and
I
and
feel
everything.
like in your comment though, let's stay there for just a second, because I feel like in your comment there, you weren't really buying off on this whole like purpose-driven workforce shenanigans. I mean, what do you think, Sean?
So I do, and one of the reasons I moved over here is I'm a big fan of and proponent of livable wage as well as pay
Okay.
equity. And
Yeah.
the tool allows you to create pay equity. And quick sample: one of our clients a couple of years ago, the first client obviously didn't have pay equity, and now in the UK they pay for every pound a male makes, a woman makes a pound and 4 pence. And so they're actually,
Wait, back
well,
that up 1 second. So you're saying you're saying women are paid 104% of what men are paid in the UK?
yes, yeah.
Is that right?
There's some cool data around things like if our tool sits across all this information. So if you think about the payroll system, what people make, your performance management system, all your benefit stuff, so you can start to aggregate this data. So look at pay equity and say, well, why are females paid the same more or less? And part of it is when we looked at one client, they were just in the range, that salary grade that they were in, basically in that job, not as long. You can start to insert jokes here. They're obviously smarter, so they got promoted faster. And so if you can't put all that stuff together, then you can't do a really fair comparison, because if you're
Or
getting
okay,
promoted
I
faster,
got another one for you. Or did they enter the job more recently when wages have been inflated, and therefore other people are kind of like, because you're kind of tied to that, you're anchored in a way to that like rate you came in at, because you get your little 3% every year or whatever, right? But it's off of kind of tied to where you came in.
yeah.
So if you came in recently in the last 2 years and wages have just been going through the roof and the war for talent, I don't know. That's my theory.
No, I think that's a huge piece of it. And actually, we're going to go all over the place like we did last time. One of the cool things of what we're doing, and we just tested with a client, is when you think about the money and people coming in, there's always these surveys that go out there and say, what percent of people think they're paid equitably, right? And
What
of course,
percent of people do think they're paid equitably?
it's usually around 20%. And I'm thinking those, it might be more, but of course, some people like me would argue I would never answer that question that I am, because I know what management's going to do with it, right? But I'll bet the question
it's anonymous, Sean. It's anonymous.
Yeah, that's right. But I'll bet if you actually went out and surveyed, a question they never ask is who would like to make more money.
Is that a different question?
I think so. Most people want to make more money. And to your point, there's only a 2 or 3% merit increase every year, right? Like you can only make,
right.
That's what people give you. If that, right? Inflation.
If that.
But we just did some testing. What if you personally could take some of your base and
Sean, are you about to give me a raise right now on live TV? You're about to give me a raise? I'm all in
you
on
meet
this.
your performance. So we did a test with a company.
That's my problem. Yeah.
Oh, performance.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you did a test with a company. Tell me about it.
So basically, they offered employees the ability to turn in $1 of base pay for $1.25 of short-term incentive annual bonus, with some guardrails, only X amount of percent. But basically, say you want to make more money. Everyone says they want to make more money. Put your money where your mouth is. And then you can also move that money around and say, are you willing to put on the company performance, your performance, or the blend, right? And what came back was pretty interesting, because everybody, if you think about life in general, you can get anything you want your way. You go to, Starbucks, or you think about how you order a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, since I'm in New England.
There's a lot of choice, a lot of consumer choice out there, a lot of customization in the marketplace. Yes. Even on Amazon, you can go in and you can get different funny phrases screen printed on t-shirts in different sizes and different colors. So yeah, 100%.
But it's still pretty analog, right? And still pretty, binary inside of pay. Like, this is your pay. This is your
well,
bonus
hold on.
structure.
I'm trying to understand. Okay, so like, what are my options here? Because I guess when you say pay, I think straight pay. You know, I think salary wage, right? But you're saying you could have it your way with bonus versus commission versus salary wages versus profit sharing. I mean, are these kind of the same things, or like?
Yeah, companies would be able to
me-
go back in and say, what do you want to make that, right? The currency, you can make the exchange rate. So you can do $1.25 for every dollar you give up, $1.50. You can do it on equity. You know, you can get so many shares if you give up and make it. So companies can do that. And then if you go one step further, do that across all your benefits as well. So, you know, instead of saying you get only this benefit, allow you to have kind of, you know, at your company, Glomo bucks. And so you get so many Glomo bucks.
John, I run with this idea. I've had a beer, run with Glomo bucks.
All right.
Yes.
So we got Glomo bucks, and you get X amount of dollars to spend on your benefits. And then whether that's on a wellness program, a drinking program, your healthcare, HSA, childcare, bike schemes, whatever it is, you could be able to move that money around, because right now you don't have choice. You kind of, here's your benefit choice and selection, and they pick on base where they are in life. Here's my pay, and the leverage is set, you know, set up by the company. So if you could set the leverage, that allows people to start to tailor their entire package around that. And looping it back to mobility, imagine if mobility was part of that. If you could put a value in there that says, we can assign a value because we know you guys have all the data. When you move somebody and how much it costs and the housing and everything else, you have that. And you can communicate it back in a total reward statement to say, here's all the stuff you have and the value. Then if they go to look for another job.
I want to talk about this. I want to get into this with as it pertains to mobility, right? Let's make this practical one second. But we got a lot of people coming in to the comments here. I've also got a lot of comments coming in real life. Hey, Jack, you want to say what's up? You want to say what's up, Jack?
Who's there?
It's Jack Craven. It's Jack Craven from LOVE+RELO.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Jack?
All right. I got to go. I got
a cameo.
To do.
All right, he's got a session. Go do your session. We got people checking in here in the interwebs as well. Look at this. Hey, I want to know what your thoughts are here about this flexible compensation. Is this for real, y'all? Can I just go in and be like, hey, employer, this is how I want to chop it up? I mean, is this for real? Do y'all see this working for you? I want to know what you think about this flexible compensation. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Drew Phillips, 95 degrees in Newport Beach right now. Yikes, Mr. Filia. Let's see here. Hello from Philly. Zeta. What up, Zeta? Lance Kaufman checking in. Blast from the past. Hey, Ben, represent IT in the chat. We'll represent Lance. Lance has a comment. Lance says, I want to hear your thoughts on this here, Sean. Lance says, by project bonus, not by year end, that's worthless in an agile project environment. What advice would you give to Lance as it pertains to how to structure his comp in a flexible comp environment, knowing that's an agile development environment?
I'm assuming by his comment, he's saying every time they hit some some markers inside of agile development. That's all, up to how the system is set up. So if you wanted to have a bonus that said every time you hit it, you get X amount of dollar percentage, your bonus, equity, dollars, cash, whatever it is, that can all be delivered in your personalized reward system.
Yeah. Lance goes on, actually, Lance giving the detail here, giving the backup. I like it. Lance saying we get several snapshots after each project milestone. We should get a bonus then, so you get some throughout the year. So at milestones, at these different sprints, end of year, you can barely remember the 30 projects you worked on with different business owners. See, I thought it was Lance just says I can't get a project done in a year, frankly. I mean, I just never hit my deadlines. That's where I thought you were going, Lance, but no. He's saying I'm doing 30 projects, and I need to get a little taste throughout to keep me engaged, or else I'm just not going to buy into this system. Is that possible? Is that one of the have it your way options, Sean?
Yeah, I think in personalized rewards, which is kind of the buzzword, it is. I think companies need to start making those changes. I think some of them look at it as a way to keep you, because if you have to wait for your bonus, there's this weird period of the year where you can't go anywhere, right? You're like, my bonus is coming. But to Lance's point, in this agile development, and if you have gig workers, that are coming and going, being able to offer a bonus structure that is based, every time something happens, it just makes much more sense. Not to mention, I mean, I'm an old dude, so there's no chance I'm remembering what happened 6 days ago, let alone 6 months ago on the product side, right? And to be able to sit down and say, what projects did you do? Were they on time? What was the quality? Whereas you could do that same amount of leverage over a year and give feedback, because, good bonus means you did a good job. bad bonus.
Yeah.
I got to get my act together. That feedback through the year is just much more applicable, and I think makes sense.
So question for everyone in the audience, how do you want to get paid? If you could design your comp plan, some mix of salary, profit share, bonus, commission, what are some of the other ones, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, even mobility, to be honest, it's anything that's in there. You've got, in the US, HSA, childcare credits,
health spending account.
Catch. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, me and the acronyms.
You got to break it down for the people here. You're the HCMs and the HSAs
basically think about everything that you're offered at work. There's the offering it, and then do you understand the value of it? Like a total reward statement. So total reward statements online basically show all the value you're getting. And I think for mobility, kind of tying it back to the crowd, think about the value that people that are on an assignment get. And so I know Lynn was talking about the development and the purpose and the coolness of it, which is important. But in a total reward statement, someone would be able to go on there and look and say, well, I could get another job, but who's really going to spend an extra $60,000 on me? The value the company's providing me is a lot.
Yeah, I like the fact that there's a lot of value that probably is undervalued that the company is giving people, right? And I like that. Ryan Thomas is coming in here saying, I like the flexible compensation idea. Ryan, how would you use it? I want to know. Ryan, I think Ryan sells boxes for a living in deceptively lucrative business, by the way, for you kids out there. Rob Zeitz, I want Glomo Bucks, GMBX. Is that our new coin? Is that our coin, yeah. Jana? We need to create a coin. We need some crypto. Glomo Bucks. Oh my gosh, it's outperforming the dollar currently. Rob saying, I'm guessing if you see how people are choosing to be compensated, you get a good idea of how your employees feel about the company and their jobs. Can you see that? That's interesting. Is there visibility like that?
There's some cool technology out there. So if you start reporting on it, you can start to see some things like you can infer some things and ask if everyone took the company as what's going to be their driver of their bonus and no one took the personal side, you would think, well, they probably just don't trust the feedback mechanism, right? I don't trust that. So I'm just going to go by something that's measurable and do it that way.
As a salesperson, I always took the salary, and bosses would always try to convince me to take commission, and they would try to guilt me into it. And they'd be like, oh, you must not really believe in yourself. Oh, you should want to bet on yourself. And I'm like, listen, I want those dollars up front. I want to know what I'm making. I don't want to crush it. Because then I would look at it like limited upside. I'm talking about me for a second. I'm just going on that tangent. But I would look at it as like limited upside, because like, what if I did absolutely knock the cover off the ball, and then now you just rewrite my comp plan, you just rewrite my commission structure next quarter? Like I've seen guys that have done that. Yeah. Top seller at DHL Global did $60 million in a year, and then just rewrote his comp plan and made half as much. It's like so for me, like I don't necessarily trust my employers now. I don't know what that says about me, but. Sharing here, I guess.
It was interesting to see the results that came back from this study of the ones who did, they offered it out, right? And the younger they were in general, they decided to take the base pay. And you start to think about it. They want the cash. Well, it's a long time ago when we had a horse and buggy for the family to get them around. You had to make sure.
Is that what's pulling that camper? Is that horse out there?
Yeah, a couple of them. I went a little larger camper, so 2 horses. Clydesdale, they come with the Budweiser. Yeah.
Couple of Clydesdales. This is great. We got UK checking in here. Greetings from London. I want to hear more about this cash option here. How do you want to get paid? I promise, going to tie this into global mobility as well. Ryan Thomas says, I have my own life. So Ryan's younger, probably 34, I think 35. I have my own life insurance outside of employer. Don't need my company to pay for some too. I'd rather take the extra money or benefits and apply it somewhere else.
And that's the crux of the whole issue is everyone's got their own stuff going on, right? And so how you apply that total cash, makes sense. And if you're the employer, you also want it to go to the right place, right? Because otherwise, Ryan's looking at they're looking at it and saying, I'm spending this amount, I don't know Ryan,
I'm
but
spending
based
all
on
this
his
money and he doesn't care.
Yeah. Just looking at his picture, he's probably making like say $1 million a year, right? And so, Yeah. So, of that, the company's spending that much money.
Yeah.
And if he only values half of that, he's going to go find another job where he feels like his package is more, even though they're spending that kind of money.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
And does he even understand how much everything is before they can even move it? So
yeah,
I just think, that is going to happen. That is going to happen over time, I think.
Sean, I feel like you're trying to bait me into a package joke, and I'm just not going to bite. But I am going to say, let's tie this into Gold Mobility now, because when I hear flex, my mind automatically goes to core flex, right? Yep. What are your thoughts about how we as Gold Mobility professionals can engineer more flexibility into our programs and policies?
So there's probably two sides of that. I think there's the mobility policy. I know there's two sides of this, and I kind of tend to lean into the VIP package if you're moving somebody versus having to choose 100 things on the core flex.
You would.
If someone offers you the VIP, well, if someone offers you to go to a sporting event, would you rather them give you a couple bucks and you keep having to buy everything all the time, or you want to go to the cool guest suite, right, where everything's provided and you just show up and have a good time?
I want to go through that buffet 3 times. Yeah. Okay. Like old Tiger Stadium, right? I'm going to go in first with the hot dog course. Then I'm going to see what the carving station's about. And I'm going to land on a Little Caesars hot and ready in the 7th. Okay. So yeah, you're right. I want it all in.
Yeah. So, but if you go back to core flex in the reward space, the comp space, they're just getting to where mobility's already been at. And it's interesting hearing them talk about in comp space. And you think about a mobility professional, and I think they don't give themselves enough credit in the mobility space. Comp people are asking us, well, I need someone to move remote. Well, what do I have to think about? Is there tax implications? Mobility people never worry about tax, right? Oh, is the housing going to change? Oh, I never worry about that. What if I have an employee there? Are they allowed to work there? Other things mobility people never have to worry about. I'm amazed at how applicable, after spending some time in mobility, the skill set of the mobility professionals are, if they kind of get out and, speak up in the other parts of the, parts of the business.
So I've seen it done some different ways, and I'd love to hear your ideating on how it might work. Like, let's just imagine art of the possible here, blue sky, white page. How would we construct a program? I've seen or heard about points-based programs, like where you kind of get a menu and, certain things cost a certain amount of points. I've heard about some that are almost like kind of like airline miles or credit card points, right? Where you get, 500 and you can do it. And then you can even donate some, which I'd love to see the data on that. How would you structure it to facilitate that kind of flexibility?
So if you use dollars, I think dollars are kind of there, and then you create a currency exchange for each type of
item. So dollars are the points, and I would agree with you, right?
Think about
dollars
it. Weight Watchers,
we measure all performance.
Yeah, wait. I mean, otherwise, if you assign points, it's kind of like Weight Watchers for mobility, right? Everybody knows it's calories on the end. You're just making it simple with some points, and then you create a currency rate, right? And so, back to rewards, if days off, if you want to offer your employees extra days off, do you let them buy it cheap or expensive? Part of that to me is taking one step back to the policy question. What do you want to accomplish with your core flex, whether it's rewards, benefits, or mobility? What do you want to accomplish? Because you can drive that action based on the currency rate you set. So think of it this way:
the exchange rate, basically.
Yeah, because if you make it, to do the core things you really want them to do, you make that pretty inexpensive, in theory.
So you're not proposing a dollar for dollar. You're not saying that, your household goods move costs 15 grand. So we're going to make that 15,000 points. And this costs us, because you're really incentivizing them to use the program and get the benefits. But are we making markets though in that way when we're weighting stuff? Are we getting away from that? Like what we're actually trying to drive in the employee, which is to theoretically have them make better decisions about their spend, or are we trying to get them to make better decisions about their experience?
Yeah, see, I would argue experience, and I always use immigration as one of those, right? I mean, you got to make something core. To me, that's one, and mobility space. Do you let them handle their own mobility? And I also guess maybe I'm making a mistake, but if the employee has to do something themselves, are they using their own personal time or your time as a company to get that accomplished? And
then the value to the company changes.
Well, if they screw up immigration, A, they don't show up. B, they're spending their time fixing it. They're just not working for you. You're paying them, but they're not working for you at that point in time. So those core items, and then there's certain items where you're like, maybe I want to make the move there. Because again, if the move isn't going well and they decided to U-Haul themselves over somewhere and it's not going well, guess whose time they're taking?
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, I want to ask everybody that's watching this right now, one, hit the like button right now. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so if you're watching this right now, I want you to hit the like button. I want you to get in the comments, and I want to ask you a question. Sean just said something that he thinks immigration is one of the most important benefits in a mobility policy. I want to talk about this for a second. I want you, if you're watching this right now, I wanted to ask you, what is the most important relocation benefit? What is the most important benefit in a global mobility policy, in your opinion? Put it in the comments. I want to know. Right now, try and get on. So get on. We got people that want to get on. How do you want to get on? You want to get on virtual? You want to get on physically? People don't know. They don't know. They have too much choice, Sean.
Too much choice.
Too many options, man. People don't know. Their brains are exploding over here. I want to know what y'all think out there. We got people telling me not to wear this shirt in front of a green screen. Richard, it's not a green screen. This is an actual hotel lobby. There's a real bar over here. Should I show people the bar? There's a real bar with real people over here. Here, we're going to turn it around. Look at all the people. Look at that. There's Christina Blondheim, Jimmy Brooks. It's got the Hurricane. Look at that. Matt Waz, Christy Saluga, Jennifer Rodriguez. This is great. We got Shan. Yeah, look at this. This is great. Anyway, people don't know. They don't know. They don't know, Sean. All right, so. Yeah, not a green screen. Ryan Thomas having you like the jokes, Ryan? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. I had this argument one time with an immigration lawyer, and he also felt that immigration was the most important benefit, and it did not end well. So what do you think the most important benefit is, Sean?
Well, I mean, in the whole compensation space, I mean, I kind of look at it as what can go wrong. And so if they're working in the wrong place, so remote work, you go work in Italy for a few months and someone didn't tell you that you can't work there while you're on vacation, and the business all of a sudden is getting taxed. That's bad, right? You move someone
all of a sudden now they have a nexus in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's catastrophic.
Yeah, and again, I think that's just yeah.
Rob's saying immigration.
Yeah. Rob's running for office too. That's a very politically correct answer, Rob. It depends.
I think though, and you know what? I guess that's fair. If there's immigration involved, immigration might be the most important. Let me ask you though. Let's say it's a domestic relocation. What's the most important benefit in your opinion, Sean Luitjens?
So there's some stuff up front, I think, around, if you want to call it immigrate. You're in Texas, so that's like its whole own country. So if I wanted someone to immigrate to Texas,
there's relocations from Dallas to El Paso. I mean, that's an 8-hour drive.
Yeah. Well, the tax side, to me, that's the tax. I think it's if it's not immigration, it's the understanding of the legal and fiscal requirements of a company to have somebody somewhere, right? So we're giving people all these choice, and it's like, oh, I want to go work in Texas because there's no, state tax, right? There potentially is state tax for the company in some states by having them there, and you have to payroll them there, and there's ramifications for that. So I just might put that into the whole legal aspect piece of it. And then I think it's just having a good experience, because I think part of the fundamental for me, the second piece is that experience. And maybe that's where you're going with the move is, if they have a crappy experience, all you're doing is moving them to the new place. They're going to find a new job.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I mean, listen, I'm partial to moving because that's my background, and I have a theory that when you go into this business, everybody thinks their piece is the most important part. So I'm always curious, and you're a little more you're a little more unbiased, I think, because you kind of sit in the middle and just tell people I used to tell people what things cost. So I mean, you're kind of in the middle, I feel like.
I would actually argue from a personalized, every vendor, every person in their segment saying theirs is the most important. But every as you know, because of exceptions and everybody moving, it's the person moving who dictates what's the most important for them.
And I
Someone's
think that's
going to do all their homework.
You're saying, right? Yeah. That's at the heart of what you're saying. So now let me ask you this, though. We hear a lot about the great resignation. Some people call it the great reshuffle. Some people call it the great realization. The fact of the matter is a lot of people are changing jobs. How does this concept about flexibility translate into and apply to the great resignation?
Yeah, I think if you're trying to, attract and retain, can you communicate what you're giving people and allow them to maximize their dollars? So if you can actually shuffle the dollars inside, since you use the great reshuffle, if you can take your compensation and maximize it, right, and make it so that the employee is getting more from you for the same dollars output than they are from the other companies, you're going to attract and retain them. Because you want the best talent. I do think the hard part of that, and it's what Lynn was talking about the other day, I think people are starting to say, the last 2 years sucked. There's very few people saying that was awesome, I think, the last couple of years. And they are purpose driven. And can you tie that? And that has value. And you can't really put that on a total rewards. As much as I'm a math nerd and a dev nerd, you can't put that in a spreadsheet. You can't put a value on the purpose driven thing. And so people are changing things. So I think maximizing your dollars, but then, getting them in the right place. My question yesterday I didn't type in was, you guys, you were saying,
I love the questions that are not typed in.
Yeah. Well, I was getting late, and it was more for you, not Lynn. So you said you needed somebody who fits into your purpose, but would you take an employee that was going to drive a lot more business, make your clients happier? Or would you take someone who believes in your purpose, but isn't the same performer?
Okay. Give me those two options again.
So person A isn't so much in line with your purpose per se, but they're going to drive just a ton of revenue for you, and they're going to do it in a great way, and it's going to make your business go further in driving your purpose. Or employee B who thinks your stuff's the greatest, but they're a marginal performer.
I feel like A is not really a fair example, because you're saying they're not aligned with the purpose of the company. And really what I was talking about then is the values of the company. But, the purpose. Okay, let's say purpose. Not aligned with the purpose. So our purpose is to connect people and companies to opportunities. That is our purpose statement. And that doesn't really get them jazzed, you're saying. But yet they drive a ton of revenue. And they do it in a good way, whatever that means. They do it in a good way. By the way, I have qualms with do it in a good way, whatever that means. But they drive a ton of revenue and do it in a good way. And yet they also seem to get along with people. They're like basically a perfect employee, but they don't on paper ascribe to my purpose statement. I would submit to you in this hypothetical situation that this is not possible. I don't think you can be an amazing driver of revenue, doing it in a good way and getting along with everybody else at the company who has the same purpose if you don't share that purpose. I
would argue it's role based. So I would argue a project manager.
Okay,
right,
tell me a story.
I would argue a project manager doesn't care, right? And so I'm sorry, you don't like in a good way. Let me think here. Someone who consistently exceeds their KPIs in their performance management indicators. How's that instead of a good way?
Yeah, consistently exceeds. That sounds like a box to be checked. Consistently exceeds. Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's roles, but I think you're right. Someone who is client facing and doesn't believe in the mission, that's probably going to come through. And some people will care and some won't, right?
Yeah. How are they going to be this most amazing driver of revenue and they're not motivated to do what we do?
But how much value is there? And I guess my answer to that is between A and B is I want to be like Rob Zeitz. So I'm going to say it depends, in that you offer the personalized rewards that kind of align with that, right? They're going to be able to pick and choose, and that's part of the value of why they're coming to you. Over time, though, unless you're so unique, they're going to take those skills that you've taught them and find someone else with the same purpose, unless you can compete with them on a total rewards basis. Someone can offer that same value in their head.
Yeah, because if somebody's not aligned with our purpose, to me, that's a recipe for toxicity. you know, because like, so where I thought you were going with this question, but then like that in a like does it in a good way thing kind of threw me. I thought you were gonna say drives a ton of revenue, but isn't like a team player, isn't like Mr. Potluck, you know, a Thanksgiving guy, you know, and I thought that's where you're going, and I was gonna say, well,
no, I'd just get rid of them anyway. That's a
yeah, exactly.
That's a matter of win. That's going to hurt your revenue at some point. That's just a matter of win. So,
yeah, exactly. So Katie Linehan, by the way, coming in here, best questions ever. I don't know who that was directed to, but I'm going to take that one.
That's what happens. Get you a couple beer, get you a beer or two going, and then the best questions show.
Get me a beer. Gratitude goes out the window. I start taking all the credit. Purpose be damned. Rob Zeit says Sean's answer for domestic relocation priorities: the craft beer scene. Number one benefit is a DSP showing me around at all the craft breweries and doing flights with me. True or false?
It's got to be true.
No? All right.
Oh, it's got to be true.
I'd like to see that offered from a DSP standpoint. It's great. Love it. I love the questions. Love the comments. Throw them in there. Hit that like button right now. I'm watching everybody just get real active at the bar over here. Oh, Sean, it's hard. It's hard doing this job.
Yeah.
Directed to the not asked question comment by Sean. Oh, Katie, you're killing me, Katie. Now I got to give that credit back. All right, Sean. Good job. Fantastic. Excellent stuff here.
It's good discussion. I mean, it is interesting. Here. The whole, you know, how you value the purpose and how you value those softer things. There's no number for it. And so, you know, and I think that's changed with COVID. I think people used to talk more about that, but they didn't walk the walk. They talked about, I'm going to go do this and purpose matters. And I do think with COVID, you've seen people shuffle around. And I think the great reshuffle, part of that is just people saying, I want to do more what I want to do. And that they're somehow getting their head around there's value to that, or the place I work at, I don't like as much as the other place, and I want to go here and I have value. They're somehow getting some value to that and putting it to it because things became pretty real.
All right. So now, you know, this brings me to another question, right? So you're right. Great point. Now that you kind of have like more exposure to different sides, and I know you have a compliment background, and you know you've seen a lot of different aspects of HR. Remote work. Here to stay? Is it a fad? 5 years from now, we're going to be telling jokes about it like Beanie Babies? And where should it sit in HR?
All right, so a couple of things. I think remote work is, well, I've worked remote 17 years now, and I don't mean in the camper. I've been not at the home office, you know, away from the Death Star. I haven't
seen this home you speak of. I haven't seen.
All right, I'm sending you a picture after
the bank. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll send you pictures. It's sad. So I think it's here to stay, but I think for certain roles, I think there's going to be some companies who lean into coming into the office. I think there's people who like to come in, and there's that community. And I think companies are going to realize, even for remote work, to get people together, that creativity piece. As a remote worker, I liked going in.
This is a segment we like to call Asking the Guy Working from a Camper About Remote Work.
Yeah. I still think people are going to want to get together in the creativity side.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. There's a lot. Hey, Mike McGill, everybody. Mike McGill. This beer is sponsored by Mike McGill. Right. The next 20 minutes of Love and Relo are sponsored by Mike McGill at Ace Relocation Systems. So,
and virtual beer is not nearly as good.
Virtual beer does not have the same oomph. Yes.
Yeah, no. So I think it's going to end up at some type of hybrid. And I used when people went to remote and said, we're going to be remote, and remember the whole, you know, right after COVID, mobility's dead discussions.
I was on that bandwagon. I was a doomsdayer, naysayer.
I always went with the theory there couldn't have possibly been that many stupid business people. And let me explain. As you know, it's expensive to have somebody to put someone on a mobility package, right? Even if you go skinny, right? It's expensive.
Sure.
So how many business people sent people away on assignment when they could have had somebody local or had somebody do it remote? Money tells you Money tells you just whether you believe it altruistically or in greedy bastards at corporate, they would have killed it if it wasn't necessary. And I think it's still necessary. Some roles might not be, or they'll be hybrid, or there'll be more business travel or short, stays in corporate apartments. I think it's going to flex because it was necessary.
That was the best argument I think I've heard today. And it might be the 2 IPAs, but I think that's the best argument I've heard today. Now I'm going to counter that argument because I love an argument. And I'm going to say, yes, but if your competitors are all remote, there's no advantage or disadvantage, only cost savings. So that I think is the difference. Is we don't do business in a bubble. We do business in a competitive landscape against other people who are trying to take share from us. And if our competitors are seeing clients, if our competitors are seeing colleagues, and if our competitors are out there and engaging and collaborating in those dynamic ways, that to me seems to be a competitive disadvantage to not be doing those things.
Yeah, that's it's hybrid. And I would, if you think that the role can be done equally the same or meeting in person, and that's where I think this cost, where companies were looking and saying, well, I'm not going to have mobile and they're going to be complete remote and I'm going to save a lot of money. I think it's really in the middle. You're still going to have to bring people together. That's going to cost money. They're still going to have to go visit on site for creative sessions or go visit clients or go do things.
Sure.
It's just going to be in a hybrid. The other piece of that's the service. You're talking about somebody who's going cheap and driving price down. Maybe in some places that'll happen, but I'm going to show my age now. There's always somebody who wants to buy a Yugo, right?
I like how old you've gotten. You're like Benjamin, but you're just like aging like before my eyes. Like you go from I live in my girlfriend's mom's basement, digital nomadism rocks, all the way to Yugo drops over here.
That makes me an unsuccessful hippie, not young.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. And thanks for being a good sport. Let me make fun. Michael Katz says, very good point, Sean. I like how people are actually naming who the credit goes to now because they can't trust me to dole it out properly. That's probably very astute and very smart, savvy stuff there, Mike. Ryan, cheers, Ace Relo.
Yeah. But that's where I think mobility, this gray area that's now come between, people used to be an expatriate and there was some business travel that sat somewhere and then there were comp people. This gray area is where, going way back to where your question started, how it affects mobility, it's created this gray area between mobility. I don't think it's as siloed. It can be, but the skill set and what people bring to the table as you're talking about remote work, what is remote work? It's, at some level, if I decided I wanted to work in Texas, I'd be an expat in Texas. Or if I wanted to work in Ireland, I'm a remote worker, but I'm really just an expat on a local package in Ireland. There's a lot of gray there where the skill set of a mobility professional, someone who knows all this stuff that has to happen to make sure it doesn't go sideways, they know all that. Where the comp people are like, what the hell happened? He just decided to go work in, Ben just decided to go work in Ireland for 6 months.
I don't even know you.
Yeah. Like, what do we do with Ben? How do we pay him? All these things that mobility people think are pretty normal, right? Like Ben's going to go work for 6 months in Ireland. How do we pay him? What does he do for a visa? How do we get his stuff there? Does he actually get stuff?
Yeah, like, are we localizing his pay? What do you think about that? Like pay, localized pay, does it go both ways? Like,
yeah, what do we do with his pet? If they're on pension scheme, healthcare, because he's an American, what do we do with that? There's no national healthcare. Like all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to move to Ireland. I'm going to take my healthcare points. I'm going to roll those into base pay. I'm going to unflex that real quick.
I thought you were going to roll them into Guinness pints.
I'm going to roll them into Glomo bucks, which can only be redeemed for Guinness pints.
There you go.
These are great ideas, Sean. Honestly, the ideas get better as we keep talking. It's very much like being in person.
It's a cool space. It's a really cool space right now where, over time, you're just going to have I think you're going to have employees, and those are going to span the spectrum of full-time employees. We haven't even talked about at what point does a gig worker become an employee or have somebody mobile? Are they remote gig worker? And what do you do with the third parties where you outsource a department? Like all that stuff has to get handled by somebody in HR.
Okay. At what point does a gig worker become a full-time or, an employee? Have we defined that? Do we know?
Well, there's a bunch of law. We can take this really down and really bore people.
I don't want to go into I want a short answer.
Yeah.
Short answer.
I don't know that there is one. Once they're doing the same job for the less money, then pints instead of pounds. There is a bunch of legal precedent from Microsoft, et cetera, back in the day. But you have gig workers.
Oh, that's
doing
right. The contractor laws. Microsoft ran afoul of that. FedEx ran afoul of that. Amazon, they're talking about. I mean, Uber, even. Super interesting stuff. I want to get into something here, Sean. Let's have some fun. All right.
All right.
I'm having. We got a couple brewskis going here. Got the IPAs going. Hold on, just topping off. Consolidate. There's a lot of consolidation in the marketplace right now.
Well, now, did you consolidate? Did you mix? Or are they both IPAs?
I think I pray they're both IPAs. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that's not a fine. Okay? Yeah.
Got the people over here.
We won't dock your Colombo Bucks for marrying those two.
Hey, look at this. Hey, everybody got to get a little closer. Got the portrait mode on.
Yeah.
This is witness protection. You got to get closer, though. There you go. Yeah, no, closer. What do you not understand about close? You got to get.
She's going left and right, not closer. There she goes.
There you go. Left, right, back. Is back the answer? All right. Hey, bye. Oh, this is great. All right, let's do a little. Have we done overrated, underrated before? Jennifer Rodriguez, don't you laugh at me. You want to come over here and say hi? Jennifer Rodriguez is eating right now. She's eating. Come here. Get over here. Before we overrate, underrate.
So we got to know what she's eating since you've got the beer.
Segment? You got to get closer. What are you not?
What's she eating?
Just kidding.
How are you?
They want to know what you're eating.
I'm good. She can't hear me though.
Eating a cheese and meat
board. A cheese. You're eating a whole cheese board.
I mean, I feel like I could.
Cheese board right now. Yep,
it's actually really good. It's a little snack time.
Snack time.
Got to get some more energy for tonight.
Yes. What is going on tonight?
Tonight we are going to Milwaukee's Kitchen and Bar, and Bella Kane is going to be there. Some live music. Got some dance moves.
What is that?
I think it is country.
Country music.
Yeah.
Bella Kane is the sensation sweeping the nation.
We miss you all here in Milwaukee.
Yeah. We missed you out here she's normally in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, Milwaukee, same.
My hometown.
She's going to bring. All right, see you later, Jennifer. Bye. Also, Jennifer Rodriguez is going to be the youngest president of a region of CRC, at least in the history of CRC, the long, illustrious history of CRC, and maybe ever anywhere, to be honest with you. What are you, 22? 27? 28? 27. You'll be 28. Yeah, she's 22, going on 28. Hey, look at Erica Burton checking in. I know I teased the overrated, underrated, and it's just getting off the rails over here.
And we didn't do that last time. We had top 5. It was top 5 last time, so we've migrated now to overrated, underrated.
We switch it up. Yes, it's a new thing, this is our 400th episode, our 401st episode, Sean.
Wow.
It's a big one. It's a big
There's
one.
A lot of
switch
shows.
it up a little bit. Yeah, I see you, Erica. I see you. Where are you, by the way? You see me. Hey, boo. I see you. All right. Erica Burton. Love Erica. She's amazing. All right. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Our skills in global mobility. Are you talking serious again? You're being serious? Zaida's being serious. Our skills in global mobility tend to be so, and that's true, Sean, even though we have so many skills that expand through the whole. All right. True or false? We should play a game. True or false? We might play a new game. True or false? Global mobility people will say global mobility people are the most skilled of all HR disciplines. True or false? Know your audience. Know your audience.
True or false? Not underrated. Can I get that in underrated or overrated?
No, it's true or false. This is a special segment just for you.
All right, one more time. I'm buying myself time.
Mobility, we'll call them mobility specialists. Mobility specialists are the most skilled of all HR disciplines. True or false?
I'll go with true since I'm on here. I would put him in that top bucket.
You can be honest. You can be honest. You're not in this.
I think so. I think their skills. what I would say is they're vastly, although, now Zeta is going to take credit for it. I would say they're vastly underrated. And let me express underrated both by the company because they sit in their silo. But what I have found is mobility people tend to underrate themselves. They don't get out to the rest of the company and say, I don't know that. I don't know comp. I don't know whatever. Mobility's, very complex, and it touches a lot of different areas of HR, and they don't give themselves credit or are, I don't know, not scared. They don't go take the time to learn the rest of HR, which they could do because all the other aspects that make a, recruitment package, it's basically a mobility package, just like you were offering somebody a package to move somewhere. It's all the same elements, just less complex if it's domestic.
Sean, over under 50 times a day you say the word package.
I got to make sure this is going to go not G-rated quick, isn't it?
Listen,
I'm going to go with under 50 soon. Today, but I can't say it again.
50,
I think I'm
50.
at 49,
okay.
So I'm going to.
We're 49 right now, 49 and a half. I think you said pack one time. All right, so let's go into overrated, underrated. Stacy, super producer Stacy, overrated, underrated. This is a new game. Well, it's not that new, Sean. You just haven't been on in a while. I'm going to say a term you're going to say is it overrated, underrated. Transparency on pay and pay equity. Is transparency on pay and pay equity overrated or underrated?
Definitely underrated. I'm a big advocate of both pay equity and the transparency around that. And I think companies will have to start catching up, not only just to gender, but age, race, etc., and start to have some transparency around that, but beyond the government requirements.
I'm going to ask you a tough question, Sean.
Yep.
Because I've had a couple.
Bring it on.
Does that mean we need to pay women more or pay men less? How do we get there?
Yeah. So, yes. So I think if you look at, Unilever is a client of ours. They've done it over time. And I think you have to address those items over time and tackle them as they move through. And I don't think it's a one-time thing. I don't think it's tenable as a one-time because it's
not just going to rip through the organization and everybody just does one of these. And now it's like, there we are.
People move throughout the year. Yeah. You make an update somewhere that has a ripple effect everywhere else. And so I think it's something you've got to stay on top of and be able to roll up all the information as you go. And as people get promoted and take all the elements of that, and roll them up together.
Yeah. Interesting. So it could be you get a promotion, but you don't get a pay increase. Story of my life. Okay.
The question for a whole nother time is: do you pay on skills, or do you pay by skills or by role? And that's a whole nother discussion over time.
By contribution or by market. All right. Next one, Stacy. Death of global mobility. Overrated or underrated?
Yeah, it's overrated. I think it's here to stay for many, many reasons, and the professionals in it just because of their skill set. I think. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's going to be something different than it was. Well, you guys have been around longer than me in the space. 15 years ago, I know I'll make fun of Michael Cadden since I saw his name. Way back when it was different than it was around, in the 2000s. And then, it's going to morph again. And I think the mobility industry will adapt.
You know what I think bodes well for us? There's more pain than ever right now in global mobility. There's more pain and more problems. And when there's pain, problems, and mystery, there's opportunity and margin. And I think that is really the job security that our industry is searching for. There's pain there. I think when we were at our most susceptible was when things seemed too simple, when Relo was too easy. When it gets too easy, that's when you start cutting lump sum checks and people get on the Google and find a mover, right? So I think the fact that there's pain, there's heartburn, there's risk, I think all that's actually bodes very well for us right now. And mobility is on the front page as we look at everything from Brexit to remote work to the mass migration of Ukrainians and Russians. I mean, all sorts of stuff, all of the self-directed relocations. I dig it. Let's go to the next one, Stacy. Skill set of mobility professionals, underrated or overrated?
Yeah, it's underrated. Guess I've been saying it all hour. So it's underrated. I mean, all those things you just talked about all take elements that mobility professionals have been dealing with forever. Even if you allow self-directed moves, they're going to have to ask somebody something, and there isn't anybody else in the company who can answer those questions and not get in trouble. I just think they're out there.
For sure. Let's see here. Yeah, she says our skills are underrated. We do many tasks within a mobility team, usually more than the property consultant. What's a property consultant?
I like the anonymity of that person, though.
I think it's Zeta. I think she's like Zeta here again. Zeta. She's coming in anonymous. She's LinkedIn user, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Michael Cadden says, thanks, Sean. Thanks for dating me. Global mobility has been left for dead at 9/11 and 2008. Oh, interesting. I was just sitting down with the president of a company in this space, and he's saying the same thing. He's like, is this an 01? Is this an 08? Is this a, and the point I think was that crises happen all the time. And what I think one of the cool values of having, older people in the organization that have long years of experience is that they've been through the crises, and over time they're little blips, right? Up close, they're enormous. Tom Brune, what's going on? Look at this, Tom.
Oh,
Tom, if you didn't
tell Tom hi.
If you didn't know,
I know
Tom.
It's not Tom.
It's not Thomas.
This is the first conference I
It's
ever
not
went
Thomas.
to.
I'm not going to call him Thomas.
It'd be like
What is
calling
this,
you
the DMV?
Benjamin.
Benjamin's, not my name, but yeah, love that guy. Anyway, heck of a drummer too, by the way.
Yeah.
Maria Coots, the other LinkedIn user, actually coming out here on the show. Fantastic. This is a lot of fun. Stacy, what do you think, Stace? You got another one or no? Oh, she does. She's got them locked and loaded. Having a personal bucket list and living in a camper, overrated or underrated?
I think it's underrated. I think you got to have them. You got to knock them off. Think big or go home. I think.
How's your bucket list looking, man?
I keep moving it, keep knocking through. So I've got a couple larger ones, that I want to tackle over the next. I usually give myself a 2-year window, although that became a 4-year window a little bit ago. So
you have a very bleak outlook. You have a 2-year bucket list.
Well, no. Yeah, well, I got 2 years to get it done. If you don't have a timeline.
Over under. Sean Luitjens, 2 years. Over under. All right. Jeez, it's getting dark. It's getting real dark here on Love and Reload. Stacey,
do you have a personal bucket list? Hold on, before we go. Do you have a bucket list?
I don't.
You
and
manage?
You know what? To be honest with you, being here with you was probably the last thing I had to check off that list. Do not have a personal. I don't have no. I have shit I want to do. I have, stuff I want to do, but like.
I think that's just the same name for that's. There's a different name for the same list. Oh.
Christina Blonheim, who's literally right there, heckling me. She's digitally heckling me right now, people. Can somebody thumbs down Christina Blonheim right now? Can we cancel Christina Blonheim? I want a petition. I want a change.org petition canceling Christina Blonheim, the scourge that is Christina Blonheim. Christina's great. Love Christina. Are you, Christina, you the YP? You the YP chair this year? There you go. YP chair, Christina Blonheim. This is how she represents herself.
Nice.
Can't stop, won't stop. Look at Diddy over here. Rob saying we started with Sean as a kid living in his girlfriend's basement. Now he's dying. I know. Look at the arc. The arc is crazy.
It's a whole movie.
He's got a 2-year bucket list, Rob. He's got a 2-year bucket list.
Hey, if you don't have a deadline, it doesn't get done, right? If you don't have a deadline, it doesn't get done.
Dead is the deadline. Dead is the deadline. The bucket list.
Rob could appreciate that pun.
Great. Now he's dying. Well, you know what? Let's conclude the show before he actually drops here on camera. No, but Sean, this is great as always. It's so much fun. You have such a great sense of humor. I really appreciate talking to you. Thank you for being here today. You want to leave people with a final thought today?
Just think on the personalized rewards, and I guess those that are in the mobility space, get out, take a little bit of education, and learn more about the comp and bend space. And I think you'll find out really quick, you guys can help them more than they can help you in that space.
I love it. Sean Luitjens, Chief Marketing Officer, uFlexReward. Thank you for being here today. And thanks everyone who tuned in today to heckle, to ask questions, to leave comments, to heckle. This has been fantastic. We wouldn't have a show without you all. Yeah, no, it's fun. It spices it up.
Yep.
Yeah, see, Rob says great show despite the heckling from Christina Blondheim. Yeah, spot on, Rob. Thank you so much.